Good morning, gentlemen. Money is perhaps the most important good in our economy, and because of that, it's no surprise that defining it is a crucial part of the job of economics. Disregard that. The problem with defining money, though, is that we have multiple instances of dealing with money that are not very direct, right? We have money as the physical thing, and that's pretty straightforward. But we have also other means of payment that are derived from paper money, and of course we have real money, hard currency, gold money, that unfortunately we cannot use anymore. But it's all different. It feels different every type of money. We have Bitcoin, we have other cryptocurrencies that can only be traded for Bitcoin most of the time. And what is money? What is not money? Ludwig von Mises said that money was neither a capital nor a consumer good. It was a sui generis good because you do not consume money directly. But you also cannot produce anything with it, in the sense that for Mises, changing ownership is not production, because the good didn't get any better. The amount of goods available for consumption has not increased. So what is money doing really? The change ownership, what is that for the economy? The problem with this sui generis explanation is that it's an ad hoc explanation. It's that you have a phenomenon, you say that it's different than anything else, you're done with it. And that's not very Austrian. We like to have everything coming from the same sort of knowledge, have very few axioms, very few unique explanations, and from that we derive these specifics. Bloch and Bill Burnett, have presented a different take on that. According to Burnett and Bloch, money is a capital good, because the change of ownership does change the state of the economy in terms of what is available for consumption. If a consumer doesn't own the good, he cannot consume it. Good on the store or good on the shelves is worthless for you unless you own it. And that change of ownership is affecting the allocation of resources. That is a productive activity. Nobody would say that a merchant or a trader is not producing anything, and the means to which he produces that is the use of currency for the change of ownership. This facilitating trade is a productive activity, and money is a capital good. One example of that would be, I'm skipping ahead. The problem with assuming that money is a capital good is that we run into a continuum problem. Right? Because if facilitating trade is what makes something money, we have many types of things making trade viable, and we have to distinguish between them. For instance, in a barter situation, we might have money involved, and that defies our general concept that barter is when we're trading directly without the use of money. But if a man's trading chicken for corn, and the guy receiving the corn thinks that he doesn't like corn, maybe he's allergic to corn, I don't know if that's a thing, but he's getting the corn and he wants to trade it for peas. From his mindset, the corn is currency. He's taking the corn and he will buy something else with it. We have another situation, more complex, would be a used car dealer. If you're trading your car, you are bartering, but the dealer is not bartering. He's going to take the car, he's going to trade it for money, and for him, that's money. This is an ephemeral definition of currency, because according to this, something is only money during a transaction. During that brief, almost inexistent amount of time where the transaction takes place, when the ownership is transferred, that good is behaving like money, but not after and not before. That creates a problem when we want to quantify money, or at least, or say, understand what's happening to the supply of money. Because we don't have a supply of money according to that. We just have instances of money occurring. The answer to that, of course, is that we can evaluate certain goods according to their traditional use. So when we think of capital goods, we might think, for instance, of a tractor. A tractor, when you're trying to quantify capital goods in a certain situation, are we producing capital goods and whatnot? You probably will count a tractor as a capital good. But nothing is stopping someone from buying a tractor and using it for tractor racing in the weekend. That sounds like a fun weekend. So what we do with that, we take this traditional use and we assume it as being the characteristic of that good. And the problem with that, of course, is that we're setting something arbitrary. How often does something have to be used as a capital good to be a capital good? And what we're doing really is we're picking a point in a continuum for specific analysis. It's context-based. But there's nothing about that good itself that makes it particularly money. And of course, that continuum situation and the arbitrary points we pick and basing that analysis on traditional use, we're taking a market variable to analyze the properties of something, right? If people are now using tractors for racing a lot, it became less of a capital good in general. If they're using it just for building things, then it's more of a capital good in a general sense. And there's something else that we define based on activity and how people are using and dealing with it, and that's prices. We don't have intrinsic value. Us Austrians at least don't believe in such thing as intrinsic value or labor theory of value and all that nonsense. For us, all the measurable amount of value of something is the market prices. So what I propose is that this is the same thing for what is money. The moneyness of something, or how money-ish, if you will, something is defined by used. So is Bitcoin money or not? That depends. Are people actually doing a lot of transactions? Do the people who hold Bitcoin actually use it for transactions or not? And same thing with paper currency, same thing with fiat currency, same thing with gold. If you're using it for transactions, then the typical behavior of people who hold that good is make transactions happen. It's to use it as a capital good, and thus it is money or it's not money. Thank you very much.